All right, guys, back on Southeastern 16 with Max Barr, SEC basketball reaction for Wednesday night's games. And, well, we had some pretty impressive performances, especially in Columbia, Missouri, as the Missouri Tigers just took it to Oklahoma. In that game, meanwhile, Ole Miss sneaks one out, Max, in Columbia. What do you know? Insert any team there, not named Alabama, and we could say the same thing this season, it seems like. And then Arkansas gets the win over LSU. Not as convincing as you and I assumed it would be, but still a big win for the Hogs because at this point, win games, baby. That's all it's about. Just win some games. So, anyways, we're going to jump into all that. As you guys know, keep it fun in the chat and leave your super chats, anything you want to talk about. Let us know, and we will continue on there. We'll also, as usual, it's Thursday. We'll do a little quick look ahead toward the weekend here in just a bit. So, all right, Max, you know where we're starting. We're starting at Mizzou because the Tigers they win 82-58 in this game. Oklahoma never led. Missouri was up 29 with like 8 minutes to go in the second half. And I think it was Daniel on Twitter. He told me, he said, if Mark Mitchell plays like this the rest of the way, they're not losing another game this season. I was like, well, you may not be wrong about that. And we kind of said, though, didn't we, in the preview? The front court was going to be the difference in this game, and Mark Mitchell just absolute domination when it comes to just the overall performance here. Now, of course, he got to the free throw line 18 times in this game, 13 of 18, finishes with 25 points, 7 rebounds, had a couple steals, couple assists, but yeah, he was the star of the show in this one, Max.
Missouri moves up to number 18 in KenPom. Blake, just give me a ballpark. When do you think the last time Missouri was 18th or better in KenPom's ratings?
February 15th, 2023.
It happens to be all the way back in 2013.
Wow. I thought they may have gotten there a couple years ago, but maybe not.
Phil Pressey's, it was Phil Pressey's last year. But anyways, 12 years. This is a 12-year high for Mizzou. Pretty incredible stuff in Dennis Gates' just third year to have Missouri in the best spot they've been in 12 years. Some cool notes on the game. After in the post game, the entire Gates family was there because I didn't know this, but Dennis's brother coaches for Oklahoma. I did not know that.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. He's there, an assistant. Yep. I honestly forgot about that, but yes, that is true. So
yeah. So that was a little angle we missed in the preview. That's pretty cool though. A little Gates against Gates coaching matchup, although not as much. But did you see what Porter Moser said after, Blake, about Mizzou?
I did not. No.
Direct quote. Ready? Listen to this. Mizzou fans, you're gonna like this. Direct quote from Oklahoma coach Porter Moser right after the game. I really think they are a team that can make a deep, deep run, and I know what a Final Four looks like.
That's right.
Oh man,
I like that. I like the combination. A little compliment and a little flex at the same time, right? Like,
yep.
This team can get there because I've been there. Come on, like as if. Calm down, Oklahoma fans. Although we'll talk about their side of things in a second, but I don't think he's wrong.
No, I mean look at kind of the way that the lineup minutes kind of were distributed. I think it might have been Drew King that said Trent Pierce is now getting the Anor Boateng treatment. He's in that same where you start the game. If Dennett doesn't like what he sees in the first 2 minutes, you're done.
You're going to play 2 minutes.
Yep. But that's just the luxury of this Missouri team, one of the deepest teams in the nation. You get big minutes from Jacob Cruz, Josh Gray, Marquise Warwick, Marcus Allen, all in double-digit minutes off the bench. Guys, the bench had more minutes than the starters did in this game. That is crazy. Not often you see that. So, yeah, deepest team.
The Missouri Magic, they did exactly what they wanted to do in this game. They got to the free throw line. They only shot 12 threes. I've got to believe, Max, that may be a season low. I'm going to look at that right now and see. Actually, they only shot 9 against Cal. 3 of 9. You don't see that very often.
Jeez.
But 12, yes, by far the lowest in SEC play that they've shot this season. But again, we said it, like this team's ability to get to the free throw line, they got there 35 times in this game, 26 to 35. We mentioned Mitchell got there half of them with 18 attempts himself. So, yeah, I mean, as I'm watching this game, I'm just thinking, man, they are just relentless. Like, they just don't let up. Like, and it kind of goes into we talked about the depth. They're just going to run another guy at you, and they just, they're in attack mode like the whole game. And, yeah, like I think the more you look at this team, I'm telling you, like they've got the pieces that you need to make a run. It's just, and I think we talk about like remaining schedules and stuff. That game on Saturday against Georgia is fascinating for so many different reasons because it's kind of a must win at this point for Georgia, but it's going to be a short spread. And then Missouri gets to come home and play that game against Alabama next Wednesday. But you look at the remaining schedule, like 4 of their final 7 are on the road. But, like we mentioned, they're all winnable road games at Georgia, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, right? So I don't think there's a lot of teams left that have kind of that setup when it comes to their road games left. So a chance to be able to finish strong here, I think, if you're Missouri. And, like we said, bounce back off of the back-to-back losses, which were not bad at all against Tennessee and Texas A&M. So, yeah, Missouri is, man, they're a machine. When they get going, they are just so hard to stop, and we've seen that over the past, month or so now.
Kyle makes a good point here. Mizzou didn't even make their threes. I feel like this is the first Gates team that can win leaning on the defense.
And they
how
rebound.
about our guy? Yes.
Yeah.
How about our guy, TP, Tony Perkins? 5 steals. 5 individual steals for Tony Perkins. How nice is it for Dennis Gates that you have a guy like Ant Robinson who in the non-conference is putting up stats and efficiency numbers that are ranking tops in the nation. And then you also have a guy like Tony Perkins who happens to just be an inch taller at 6'4", who's played 4 years in the Big Ten and can do the same exact things that Ant Robinson can in terms of making life difficult on opposing backcourts. It's just the depth here for Missouri, the quality of the depth. We talk about it with a few other SEC teams, but the quality of Mizzou's, the luxury they have of bringing Caleb Grill for 30 minutes in off the bench. You can start guys and have them only play 2 minutes. No other team can do that. This depth for Missouri is just on another level.
Yep, it is for sure. And then I think if you look at the flip side of this coming out of it, Oklahoma is 3-8 now in league play. And I just kind of the same thing we talked about. Like it's just finding the wins. If we try to find the wins in the remaining schedule for Oklahoma, they should win on Saturday against LSU. That should get them to 4. At Florida on Tuesday, that's going to be tough. Home against Mississippi State, winnable. Home against Kentucky, I think will be tough, just given what Kentucky can do, and I think they can exploit some of the things that maybe Missouri did. At Ole Miss, tough. Home against Missouri in the rematch. I mean, it's at home, but we saw the matchup here. And then at Texas. Man, probably the team that I'm most fascinated by the rest of the way now might be Oklahoma because I'm like, there's a variety of outcomes in those final games right there. Just based on, it's nice to have some of those games at home. You're probably going to struggle to win the road games. So it's just where do you find the wins? I know Ken Palm has them going 6-12. And I know we keep saying, remember, like the conference record doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things in your tournament, but like we just know, like 6-12 is probably not going to get you there. You know what I mean? Like even if you, but we say that, right? What if Oklahoma won 4 games in the SEC tournament? What if they won 3? I don't know. Maybe that's enough. So it's just it's a weird year because this is kind of an unprecedented situation where we're trying to tie in the conference records when we know they're not the end-all be-all, but they have to matter to a certain extent, right? And so as of today, Max, I mean, I'm thinking about it with all like the bracketologies that are out there and all that. A 22, 24 point road loss I've got to think they're probably one of the last teams in right now. And I mean like the last team in, second to last team in, or I wouldn't be shocked if some people, maybe move them out a spot. I think that's where Oklahoma's at now. So.
Well, it's not only a 24-point loss, but it's coming after an 18-point home loss.
Yeah.
And before that, a 28-point road loss. And
Yeah.
the past 3 games have been, the closest deficit was 18. Past 3 games. They've just been getting worked. So it's also like the margin of victory, the eye test, it has not looked good. Jeremiah Fears, his efficiency has fallen off of a cliff. His offensive rating on the whole season is 102.2. When you filter that for just conference play, it drops down to 86. Really, really struggling. Past 4 games, negative assist to turnover ratio in all of them. He's just shooting 17% from 3 in SEC play. So that's where you've seen the big dip off. Fears was incredible in the non-conference. You had some insane performances. Thinking about that Michigan game, a few other big time shots he hit. He's really been struggling, and that's where you see past 3 games: 70 points, 52 points, 58 points. Yeah, I'm right there with you on your level of concern for the Sooners.
3/10 now in 2-point percentage defense. Teams are shooting 55% against them. That's brutal. Especially, again, knowing the upcoming schedule. You're going to play teams like Florida. Like, you got to play Kentucky. Missouri again. I mean, it's just, yeah. They're not great matchups for a team that's kind of feeling like their back's against the wall here. So,
danger zone.
Danger zone for Oklahoma. They have entered it too. We got quite a few SEC teams in the danger zone. But again, what's going to happen is Oklahoma and Texas have to play each other, right? So, like, that's where a win's going to matter in those settings. So someone's going to get there. A couple of those teams will get there. It's just a matter to me. Is going to be 2 or 3 teams from that group of Vanderbilt, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, Arkansas. It's going to be 2. It's going to be 3. I don't think it's going to be more than 3. 2 of them are getting left out. We just don't know which combination that's going to be right now. All right. Speaking of the Hogs, let's talk about them real quick.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll get back to your questions, comments in the chats. Of course. Let's see. We're going to get this 1999 super chat from Joshua. Excited about the Hogs. Best story in the SEC by far. Team left for dead with the fans and the media dancing on their grave. Instead, 3 wins away from an NCAA tournament berth, peaking at the right time. Hard to be humble, Joshua says. It is. It's
Gotta
difficult,
love it.
isn't it? Difficult. But yes, Arkansas gets a much needed win against LSU because they had to have it. And, it was a little bit tricky for a little bit in that game. We thought, a little excited. I was like, man, this is like a 30-point win, right, for Arkansas.
Yeah.
But we knew, based on the fact that LSU beat them last time, there would be kind of some, it may be hard to pull away completely in this game. I'll tell you what I liked about this one, Max, a game that did not feature a lot of free throws. LSU only got there 6 times. Arkansas got there 17 times. I think a couple of those were late, though. I think this kind of went as expected, if you really think about it, right? Like, I don't think there was anything in this game just completely jumped out at you because all it did was continue the thing we said. Arkansas is simply a better team when you have Big Z involved. And we said he's coming off a game where he scored 27 points against Alabama. Can he keep that going? Sure he can. 25 points in 28 minutes here in this game. Goes 3 of 5 from 3. Davis continues his streak of games where he scored in double figures, now up to 5. So, I mean, if these guys keep contributing like this, like they're gonna be in a position where they're gonna have a chance to make the tournament. Sure, they've got a tough stretch coming up at A&M at Auburn, but I'm telling you, if we're playing the game right now, not just because Arkansas is at 4-7 and Oklahoma's at 3-8 and Georgia's at 4, but I feel much more confident about Arkansas making the tournament than I do Georgia, Oklahoma, maybe even Texas. So, is it going to be that combination of Vanderbilt and Arkansas that make it and the other 3 get left out? I'm probably putting Arkansas somewhere in there just based on their performance right now.
This is from our good friend, Mr. Lenardi, last night before the game started. This is his line next to LSU at Arkansas. Hogs would trade places with Georgia as the 13th SEC entry with a win tonight. Well, that happened. So according to our good friend, Mr. Lenardi, Arkansas is on the right side of the bubble right now. And a big reason why, Blake, has been the composure, the maturity, and the development of DJ Wagner as the lead ball handler for this team. 7 assists, 3 turnovers against LSU. Against Alabama, 9 assists, 2 turnovers. The game before that, Texas, 4 assists, 3 turnovers. But before that, Kentucky, 8 assists, 1 turnover. In the past 4 games, he's got games of 7, 8, and 9 assists, all under 3 turnovers. DJ Wagner creating at the highest level he ever has, but he's also doing it the most efficiently he ever has. It's a lot of the talk has been around Big Z, Adu Thero, Johnell Davis getting going, even maybe a little bit of Billy the Kid off the bench, looking as confident as he had. But I'm here to talk about DJ Wagner as well and what he's doing, kind of running the show as the lead man for the Hogs.
Yeah, I think that's, again, kind of where we are right now, and I feel like they are certainly a team that's trending up in a big way. I love the Big Z stuff right now. Like, I think this guy is just this is kind of unlocking what we knew the potential was with him. Like, go back to, even in Kentucky last year, right? I mean, yeah, like we knew it. We saw it. Like, you remember, I'm sure if you guys go back and watch our reaction after that Kentucky-Georgia game last year, right? That was the game where Big Z came in and he's throwing the behind-the-back pass for the 3 on the corner. He's knocking down threes, and he did all that in like 12 minutes. And we're like, all right, player of the year next year. We've already made our vote. It's going to be Big Z, SEC player of the year. But like, I think this is just, we knew it was going to take everybody for Arkansas to kind of reach their potential this year. And you think about kind of the way he started the season, the middle there got a little shaky, especially this team started what they started in SEC play. And so, yeah, like for him to be turning it on again, that's just so significant because we said they don't have another player like that on the roster. And I think it's kind of just one of those things where his ability to step out and make shots, we said consistently, that's been an issue for this team at times. And so the way he's involved in the offense right now, it's just, man, he's fun to watch when this guy is involved as he is. So
credit another good friend. A lot of good friends here, friends of the program. JC Hoops, credit him with this stat. So after that game last night, Arkansas, they hold LSU to 58 on their home floor. Their defensive efficiency moves to 25th on Ken Palm, 25th ranked defense. John Calipari has finished with a top 30 defense, 11 times in his career. The worst finish Calipari has had when having a top 30 defense is the Sweet 16. Just throwing that out there. So keep an eye on that defensive number because there's a little bit of a trend there. Yeah. Noting some postseason success.
A little postseason success, maybe you're saying. But there you go. Yeah, they're defending well. They're getting their guys involved offensively that need to be, and that's a good combination, I think, for this Arkansas team as they move forward. I'm telling you, that game at A&M on Saturday is interesting. I don't know if one of us are going to make the pick, but I'm thinking about it.
Yep.
We'll see. But yeah, fun couple games coming up here for Arkansas. So we'll see how they navigate back-to-back tough road games at A&M and Auburn. I mean, for LSU, I don't really think we need to necessarily get into anything we haven't already said. It's kind of the same story for LSU. They moved to 1-10 in SEC play now and got to go to Oklahoma on Saturday, and then really a pretty brutal schedule the rest of the way for LSU. They get the home game against South Carolina next Tuesday, but then they still have Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Kentucky, and A&M. So, yeah, I think LSU's path to 3 wins is going to be tough in the SEC. So, yeah. Anyways, all right, we'll get to Ole Miss and South Carolina quickly. And then, Skylar, I like this question you just sent in. We're going to get back to that after we talk about this game quickly. But Ole Miss gets the win at South Carolina. We knew it'd be close. We had no doubt in our mind.
Yep.
Even when that game was, what was it? Ole Miss was up. They got the double digits. Were they up 13 in the first half or something? There was a part of me that was like, you know what? Come on, it's going to be one of the ones where Ole Miss just blows them out, right? And then I'm like, are you kidding me? No chance. No chance that's going to happen because this is South Carolina at home. And, well, this is what happens, right? South Carolina made a push. And really, there was a portion towards the end of that game I'm thinking, South Carolina might win this game. But then, who was it, Matt? I can't remember. It all runs together. Somebody made
Malik
the big
Dia.
three. It was
Malik
Dia. Okay,
Dia.
I was like, who was it that made the big three? But then I remember the shot now. I'm like, oh, yeah, he didn't jump. So that was Malik Dia. That's how I visually now remember it. But we'll talk about this from Ole Miss's perspective, but I just want to keep bringing this up. And this isn't going to make it any better for South Carolina fans. 3 points, 1 point, 5 points in overtime, 4 points, 4 points. That is their last 5 home games, SEC play. I mean, it's Missouri from last year, like all over again. Yep. It's kind of what it is, especially in the home games. We said it. Missouri lost 9 or 10 games last year by 7 points or fewer. And we're just kind of there with South Carolina, where they're so close in these home games. They just cannot find a way to pull one out. So,
Malik Dia, the closer. There needs to be a Rothstein shirt for that. Malik Dia, the closer, had 18 points. I think he had 12 or 14 of them in the last 4 minutes of the game. He was quiet all night, and then just when they needed to have those half court sets when the game started slowing down after it got tied. They went to Dia, and he got it done for the Rebels. Dre Davis had a pretty big game in short minutes, even though he was in foul trouble. And Brakefield continues to not be talked about enough by us. He's a Swiss Army knife for this Ole Miss team. He's not at the level of a Sir Jabari Rice pump fake from a few years ago, Blake. But man, he's got a good pump fake. It's almost I almost laugh sometimes because anytime Brakefield gets the ball, I just know it's instinct. He's gonna throw up just a half-hearted pump fake. He just can't help himself. Sometimes he'll throw up 2 or 3 in a row, and he'll just spam like he's like playing a video game, just spamming the pump fake button. Next time you watch Ole Miss, you'll get a good laugh out of it. But not laughing are the Gamecocks. And you feel bad. They did what they do. Out rebounded, fed Murray-Boyles and Pringle down low. I thought when they started making that comeback and the defense was locking down, I was like, here it is. This is the one. It was a second half push. The momentum's there. Crowd's behind them. Ole Miss is searching for offense. They don't have that extra offense to get them over the hump. 4 of 14 from 3. Just not enough.
No, but look, if you want to look at it on the optimistic side, I like this here from Holly. Maybe they're next year's Missouri. Maybe you have one of these seasons, and next year all of a sudden, resurgence, right? That's the optimistic way of looking at it, if you want to, for South Carolina. But I think Ole Miss to just get out with 2 wins in these 2 games at LSU, at South Carolina. This was like the most nervous stretch of games I can imagine for any team this year. Because again, we do have a clearly defined bottom 2. It is LSU and South Carolina. And to have to play those games back to back, coming off a huge home win against Kentucky. It's like we knew they were trap games. They were just tough games, especially knowing you got the Egg Bowl coming up here on Saturday.
Yep.
Right? And so, yeah, I mean, if you're Ole Miss, let's say they win on Saturday. They go to 20-6 overall. They would move to 9-4 in SEC play, and then get a week off before they go to Vanderbilt. If you're an Ole Miss fan, you're taking that setup before your midweek off 100 times out of 100 to be sitting there with 20 wins, 9 wins in the SEC, because now you're looking at that top 4 seed type range. So I think, Ole Miss is in a great spot right now. Great spot. And remember, this was a team that they lost 3 in a row not long ago, 4 and 5, but now they won 3 in a row, and they've kind of gotten it back. So,
did you catch that Bozeman's Verdonk backwards behind the back pass in traffic to Collin
I did see
Murray-Boyles.
that. I
Oh
did.
my gosh.
I knew you would bring that up at some point. So
It's like, Benjamin, you're just showing off now.
game got a little chippy there early. A little chippy, a little action early on. Some guys hit the floor pretty hard. Some little chippiness. So
I like it. Yeah.
The SEC.
But yeah,
come on.
You nailed it. Just wasn't pretty. Wasn't a pretty 2-game stretch for Ole Miss, but they got business done, which is not always easy in this league when you go back-to-back on the road. So they get that big rematch. Probably got a still got a sour taste in their mouth from a month ago, dropping the OT game at Starkville. Man, just looking at Ole Miss real quick here. I mean, 2-point loss to Purdue, overtime loss to Mississippi State, 1-point loss to A&M. They've really only had one stinker of a performance. That's the 17-point loss against Memphis. This team is not far off from only having like 3 losses instead of 6.
Yeah. No, they're sitting in a great spot. Again, I think we'll play the in or out game in terms of who gets in, who gets out, maybe. I think Ole Miss, I'm feeling much more confident about them moving towards like a top 4 seed and kind of staying there. I don't know if they move above like a 4, but I think they've got a great opportunity to do so. Right now they're a 5, and I think, again, with their upcoming schedule, I'm just going to assume they're going to win some of these games. They still get, who do they get? They get Tennessee at home.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty good spot for Ole Miss. The road games at Vanderbilt, Auburn, and Florida. If they can win the Vanderbilt one, again, losing at Auburn and Florida doesn't hurt you at all. If they win all the other games, though, home against Mississippi State, win at Vanderbilt, home against Oklahoma, home against Tennessee, they're a top 4 seed.
Yep.
I think no question.
I agree.
So, all right. That was Wednesday's action. And now we'll get back to what you guys want to talk about, which I'm sure also involves some of Wednesday's action. Brian asked earlier, if Alabama wins it all, we shave off the mustaches. I can't sign the contract on that. Just yet.
I will. I have I got a
gentleman's agreement.
Plus 1,800 back from May.
I think, what's Florida right now? Florida's odds were not as high as I thought they'd be. I think they're 3rd or 4th maybe, but they're still pretty decent odds. Yeah.
Last year I sprayed the board. I had like 8 different teams to win it all. I just wanted to pick one and get it right. This year I just got the tie.
If you bet on all the top SEC teams, you feel like you're getting some pretty good value, probably.
Yeah.
One of those teams to make a run. Before we get into everything else, though, Bill's got some houses to show. We got to get this ad read in. You're right about that, Bill. Little did we know. We're talking about filling out brackets. Max has got championship odds on everybody. He's putting in all kinds of futures for the national championship.
Have some fun.
Have some fun. You can have some fun at Bracket Bids, folks. I don't know if you've ever had more fun in your life than you will at Bracket Bids.
True.
To be completely honest with you. That's how great it is. Bracket Bids, we keep saying you're going to take your experience to the next level this March and enter into that free pick'em contest. Start an auction draft league. Start it up. It's going to be fun. How about a Southeastern 16 auction draft league with the chat? Everyone starts with the same bidding dollars. You get to outwit and outbid your league mates to secure the teams you think will go the distance. Choose from multiple scoring models, including the upset bonuses to reward bold picks. Track your teams with live in-game scoring and watch the standings shift in real time. The further your teams advance, the higher you climb the league standings. For league play, use the promo code SC16 for 40% off. Download the Bracket Bids app today or visit them at bracketbids.com. Visit them right now. We're going to sit here in silence for the next 5 minutes. You guys are going to go visit Bracket Bids.
Yep.
You're going to sign up, and we'll be waiting for you. We're just going to stare directly into the camera for the next 5 minutes. Something the Wolfman would do, Max, perhaps. But did you watch the movie last night? Did you go watch the Wolfman?
No, I didn't. I wanted to, though.
Yeah. She didn't lie. There you go. So Kyle wants to know, can we do an episode where we hand out seeds for the SEC teams? We'll have a SC16 bracketologist show. We might do something like that soon. So
I like it.
We might just put on the professor stuff, and yeah. So, all right, let's get back to some other good stuff. Let me pull this up here. All right, 1 second. By the way, super chat from Matt. Oh wait, no, Skylar. Have you talked about Kentucky yet? Asking again for Matt. Yeah. It's on. Where's Matt? What's he doing? We did start early today. Some days we start early, guys. Our schedules. We have to do predictions today. So right after this, we have to record predictions, get those up for you guys. So those will be up here in a bit. So we had to start a little early.
Yep.
All right, back to this. Here we go. Skylar's question from earlier. The locks, SEC teams to make the NCAA tournament as of today. All right, Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Texas A&M, Tennessee. Is that 5?
Yep.
Mizzou. Kentucky, Missouri. 7, right? Ole Miss. 8.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. I think.
7,
I think
8.5. 8.5.
I don't know. I think so. Who am I forgetting? There's somebody that's obvious that I'm forgetting. No? Yeah, maybe not.
Auburn, Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, A&M, Kentucky, Mizzou, Ole Miss.
Okay. Yeah.
After that, it takes a.
I'm going to put Mississippi State in there. I think. Yeah. I think that'll be all right.
Yeah.
But then after that, like locks, I think that's it. I don't think there's another lock.
Yeah.
Right?
Not right now.
Because somebody from that range, like I said, of those 5 teams, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, I still am of the opinion that at least 2 of them are getting in. I think 3 have a chance to get in, a great chance. But I can't say I'd be shocked if it winds up being 2. Because remember, too, when you're on a bubble, we always say it, what did the teams around you do? There are going to be people who steal bids. And so you can't put yourself in that position, which is why the SEC tournament's going to be fascinating. Yeah.
Well, that just hurt. That just hurt the SEC because BYU won at West Virginia either Tuesday or Wednesday, and they stole a spot.
Well, and Wake Forest lost last night, and they absolutely gave up their spot, I think, if anyone had them in.
Game by game.
Yeah. So, yeah, Wake Forest lost to Florida State last night, so that would probably knock them out as it stands.
Did you see the finish of that game?
That was wild, wasn't it?
Wild.
Who was it? I think it was Ken Pom himself, who just completely railing on both teams. Like, are you kidding me? What a finish this was. So, yeah. All right, here's a question. We'll have fun with this, too, as part of Skylar's question. Rank the other 5 teams in terms of confidence. The 5 bubble teams. I would go, wow. I don't even... I want to put Vanderbilt 1, but, man, I see that remaining schedule, and I'm like, I don't know if I can. I think I'm going to go Vanderbilt 1, though. I'm going to go Vanderbilt 1. This may surprise you. I'm going to go Arkansas 2.
I was going to say, yeah.
I'm going to go Texas 3. Georgia 4, Oklahoma 5.
Yeah, I agree with. I would probably flip Oklahoma and Georgia. But then you look at Oklahoma and you're like, where do they get the wins? You look at Georgia, you're like, where do they get the wins? Someone's got to get them. Someone's got it. But
they're going to wind up playing each other. Here's the thing I like about Georgia. They have the St. John's win still working for them. Now, you can say Oklahoma has some good wins too, but I just think with the remaining slate, I don't know. I think there's a better chance for Georgia to steal some wins than I do Oklahoma just based on confidence level right now.
I feel confident in – I don't know why I'm so confident in Arkansas. Maybe it's just the way that they're trending right now. But also think about it this way. There's one team left. There's one spot left. And it's Georgia, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Who's the committee putting in?
No, yeah, we know the answer to that. Come on.
No brainer who they're putting in. So, like, that's why they're not going to leave them out.
Well, I just think it's like, and that could be the difference too between like where you finish. Because here's the thing, right? If one of those teams finishes, let's say 9th or 10th in the SEC, in the standings, that is, right? I suppose that probably still gets you to that 7+ win mark. But I'm also thinking if you finish 10th, if one of those teams finishes 10th, which would probably have to be possible, right? That's 5 teams. Then you're going to play the number 15, which is going to be LSU or South Carolina, which means what? That win's not really doing anything for you. Whereas we said, like, if it's 12-13, that is going to do something for you. So the 10 seed team kind of is like, if it's one of these teams in that spot and we're like, okay, they still need to do a little work, well, you got to go get another one maybe at that point. Whereas it's just so weird the way this thing's setting up. But, yeah, so.
Torvik had, for a while, for the past few weeks, the SEC had a better chance. It was like the difference between like 1% and 5%. So it's not much, but a better chance of getting 14 teams than getting 10. I feel like that's slipped away. Now 10 is favored again. And for the first time, there's actually some separation in where Torvik's projecting the amount of bids. 12 has taken a pretty hefty lead, where the past few weeks it's been kind of even between 12 and 13. Now it's looking a lot more like 12. So,
yeah. Well, hello to Big Gator EJ chiming in here. Is that the Gators in a good spot? They're one of the locks to make the tournament, as we know. Skyler with a prediction that South Carolina is going to win the SEC tournament, play a game, and then cruise to the Elite Eight. All right. Okay. What are the odds on that? I don't think that's Brian's question here, but what are the odds an SEC team wins it all? I mean, I think it had to be pretty high.
I saw the odds on Final Four. Auburn is favored to make the Final Four. I mean, that is blasphemy. Any team.
I'd say that's very unusual. Yeah.
But I think it's both Duke and Auburn are both like, they're not plus money to make the Final Four. It's pretty crazy. They're like projected to make it.
Yeah, okay, so I'm pulling this up now. Alabama is not that far away from them. And if Alabama wins on Saturday, I wonder what the number looks like for them. Florida's 5th in the Final Four odds right now. Tennessee is still 7th. Kentucky is 10th. A&M's 11th. So, I mean, if you're talking about the odds to win it, like that's how many teams? 6? Of the top 11. So I feel like, you've got to probably do it. And I mean, as Mother Carol brings up, a number 1 seed, as we said, traditionally wins it all. So the odds are going to play in your favor. So if the SEC gets that 3 number 1 seeds, which at this point I feel like it's a no-brainer. Like, I don't even think I think the bigger question is not as the SEC gets 3, is the SEC get 4. So I don't know. So I think it's a pretty good shot.
Have you ever seen that, though? Having multiple teams be favored to make the Final Four?
I know, yeah.
I mean, that is crazy. That is just nuts.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, though, with those two teams, because we talked about the statistical anomalies all year with those two and just how they've been doing this. So, yeah.
Well, it goes back to the Neil Blackman number, the stat he gave out about the history of KenPom teams that finished with a efficiency 35 or higher. The worst finish is a Final Four.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my. I mean, I feel like we talked about this from Nicholas, but like, is the SEC tournament going to be harder to win than the NCAA tournament? Like, and I feel like Jay Billis brought that point up. I don't know. Like, the SEC tournament, I feel like, to me, is just going to be, this is one of those years where you're just like, oh my gosh. Like, Max and I are going to be sitting over there. Every time we see a guy twist an ankle, we're going to be like, pull him off the floor.
Or get him out.
The team's done. Pull him off the floor. We're out of here. Like, we're not playing the rest of this game. Don't you do this to us, SEC tournament. Oh, man.
We need a no injury.
Part of the game, but
we need a no injury.
Oh my gosh. I'm terrified by that idea of one of these teams that could win the whole thing, or potential multiple Final Four teams somehow getting injured in the SEC tournament where their seeding is not going to be impacted at all. But I'm always good to sign up for more basketball, though.
At that point, I start to think about Houston last year, too. with
Yeah.
Shed going down,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you've got the national title team. Okay, you've got it. Let's stop pushing for a second here.
Corey, we are always going to bring this up. Like this is the look. We're trying to protect this season. Okay.
Yes.
We're trying to protect it. So that's all we're trying to do. So
if you had to pick a national champion right now, who would you pick? Because you know who my answer is. I've already told you.
I don't remember who you told me.
Houston.
Well, see, oh yeah, that's right. I told you I can't pick Houston again because I picked them last year, and that's my rule. I can't pick you 2 years in a row.
I can't pick Auburn because I picked him last year.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's true.
Bama,
yeah.
some Bama chats here.
As of right now, I would probably still pick Auburn, but I think I would pick either Auburn, Alabama, or Florida. I think Florida's the team that we're just not talking about enough is like in that same range. And I know they're number 3 in the country now, but like I legitimately think Florida can win the whole thing. Like without a doubt, based on their roster.
Oh, they most certainly can.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyways, by the way, who else coming to the SEC tournament? Skyler said not going to be at the tournament. We're going to be around the SEC tournament party. We've thought about doing a live show somewhere during the tournament downtown in Nashville, but if not, of course we'll be at the tournament. So if you guys are coming, let us know, and yeah, we'll chat.
I love our chat sometimes. It's so great. Just look, this is a 2-chat sequence here. EJ, give me Duke. I want Duke. Bring on the Blue Devils. Duke's gonna smoke Florida. Classic, little back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know. So, I mean, there's so many. Like we said, it's hey Hunter, if we can get a live show from Hattie B's, I'll be there, pal. So somebody work on that for us. But yeah, I think Florida matches up well against Duke. But everybody knows my thought on Duke. I'm not completely down on Duke. I think Duke is one of those teams, though. I just think we have to put it within the context of who they've been playing for a while now. They've been playing an ACC that is historically bad. And at a certain point, like it's survive and advance, right? And so all of a sudden you're thrust into games against these SEC teams who have just, played quad one. I don't know. I think that's where I give the matchup advantage to some of these SEC teams just based on who they've seen. But
this is going to be so fun.
It will be fun. Yeah, a lot of smoking going on in the chat right now. Everybody's getting smoked on neutral courts and everything. So we'll find out. But all right, we're out of here. We got predictions to do, folks.
Predictions.
Send in your bribes, your super chats. We'll give you 2 minutes to do that, but we got to do our predictions for Saturday's games. I think as of now, the plan is that you will get Auburn, Alabama in a separate video. You understand that. Kentucky, Texas will be in a separate video. Tennessee, Vanderbilt will be in a separate video, and then all the others will be in one as we do. We like to sometimes, kind of rotate which ones we do separate videos for. If Mississippi State was playing better, we'd probably do that one in a separate video, but it's just I don't know how much intrigue we're going to have in that one. But, yeah. So, anyways, that's kind of where we're at. But, so, hey, look at this. Mother Carol is going to drive down to meet with the chat, even going to buy dinner. How about that? All right? This is why we know we have the greatest.
What it's all about.
The greatest community, the greatest chat section on the internet, in my opinion. But, yes, that would be a lot of fun. Remember, too, we're still planning on doing the live stream of the free throw shooting contest and the game of 21. So I don't know how we're going to pull it off. We've got to have somebody like doing the filming probably as we're doing it. We don't know internet issues, all that, but we're bringing the high tops. All right. So we're going to be ready for the free throw shooting contest. I've been practicing all day, all morning actually.
I'm bringing out the Converse, old school.
Oh, I got some Converse too. I'm bringing those out. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But, all right, get your bets in on who's going to win the free throw contest. and we'll go from there. All right. We appreciate you guys. We're off to do predictions. You'll have those videos coming up in a couple hours as usual. We got a commentary combination I see here. Skylar and Mother Carol on commentary for the free throw shooting contest. That would be tremendous. I don't know. That would be an all-timer there. So EJ says he's winning it, though. I don't know about that, Big Gator EJ. All right. We appreciate you guys. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button on your way out. Predictions coming. And, remember, Saturday's schedule. No live stream tomorrow as of right now, although that could change. We're working on something. We may decide to do one tomorrow morning. We'll let you know. Baseball season starts, as you know. Lots of baseball stuff on the way. So, and then, of course, Saturday, reactions aplenty, as usual. Watch along, Alabama, Auburn for our members. So, all right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Southeastern 16.